What's going on, Second Place family? Today we are honored to have Danielle here to give us an update on Main Street. And if you are new to the Main Street project, just the big idea is that we believe that the church really should bring life to the community and, in many ways, be in the community, rubbing shoulders with those in the community, and being a place where people can connect and find Jesus. And so the Main Street project consists of a couple different elements. The part that will be front facing is the storefront. It's the old grocery store in town on the corner of Oak and Main. It has some really cool character to it, and that will be where our coffee shop, Historia Coffee, will be located. And then in the back of the building is a garage area that we're converting into our Provision Lab food pantry. That'll be client choice and be exciting for the community to be able to receive and shop for food there. And then there are two apartments up top. Danielle will talk about that. Those are lower priority, but those are also in our plan and in our vision to provide some housing in the area as well. So with that, I also want to say hi to Danielle. What's going on, girl? How are you?
I'm good, Joe. How are you? Happy to be
Excellent.
here.
Yes, excited about this
Good.
project. I know a lot of people have been asking about it, just been saying, okay, where are we at? It's been a minute since we've really been able to give a fuller update, and a lot of just kind of like, all right, are we ready to go? Oh, are we ready to go? And so I know you're going to talk about that. I'm going to turn over to you and kind of let you take it away because you are really our project lead on this, whether you want to take that job or not. But you've been doing a great job, and I appreciate you so much and all the work that you do um, on behalf of Second Place and then on behalf of the engineering firm that you work for, and being able to bring your expertise and your profession to the project as well. So take it away and talk to us about Maine.
Okay, so last we talked to everybody was April of this year, and just a quick recap was that we had just completed the interior demolition of the project. So the idea there was to remove as many surprises as we could from renovating a late 1800s building. So that is since fully completed and paid out to the contractor. At that point, too, we had just submitted for building permit, and we're about to submit for bids to contractors to hit the streets and to be able to secure kind of final and hard numbers as opposed to the pretty decent estimates we put together. And so I have a little PowerPoint presentation I'm going to share with everybody. Hopefully, oh wait, I have to hit share screen. I forgot. Hold on. You'd think I'd know this more from all these meetings I go to at work. Okay, so here's the Main Street update. I'm going to talk over the slideshow. These renderings, if you were with us at the story so far in April, you've seen these already. But this is from the southwest corner. So Oak Street is the side, the largest street you can see. Main is to the right. You can see we have this sort of concrete stair and stoop for us to congregate and hang out. The main entry into Historia is off of Main, as Joe described. And then we have the client choice food pantry as the one-story renovation in the rear or the north side of the building, and it will have its own separate entrance on the west side. So this is a rendering from that direction. The kind of orangish walls you can see in some of these renderings are mural walls. Here's what it looks like from the southeast corner. So this is the existing entrance up into the two different apartment units. We close that a little bit more so that the facade matches. This is from the northeast corner. So again, the stairs on the left at this time, the back of the one-story provision lab on the right. And then again, from the northwest corner, this is really where you can see the mural again on the north side of the provision lab, still the mural on Oak Street. To be determined what might go there, but we'll involve the community perhaps in figuring out what art to put there. And then we have a couple of interior renderings. This is, not that everything would be white, but this is sort of the massing, right? The bulk of how the space would look when you walk in from Main Street, take about 20 steps in, and you're waiting at the bar. So this is pretty to scale as far as what the equipment would look like and where it would be placed. the interior design is, yet to be complete, but you kind of get the idea. And then we do have a rendering of the backspace and the provision lab kind of point of sale. So as people circulate through the space and are able to choose their groceries, they have to arrive somewhere, right, to kind of get checked out. And so that would happen here. This will double as a conference table for some of our administrative justice programs that will eventually be housed here. So that's what that space will look like. Now I want to give you some actual updates that's happened since April, because what you've seen to date is a recap. So I'm just going to walk you through the bullet points here. So what we've done is we ended up soliciting bids for pieces of the project, and we split them into the categories that are up here in the legend. So we did the shell, and I'll explain what that means, the site, the core of the building, plus all the building systems. So that's like the mechanical, electrical, plumbing. We did the provision lab, pantry, the Historia, the kitchen, and the apartments. And the reason we did that is really so that we could have the ability to understand the cost of each of these components and then be able to bite off these pieces really in the order that they're listed there. So we do have bids, so hard bids from the contractor for shell and the site. So the shell of the building, what I mean, and that's why it's outlined in pink, it's really just about the exterior. So it's about tightening up all the enclosures. Basically, you're thinking windows, siding, doors, and what would be called storefront, which are the fancy windows along Main Street that lead you into Historia. We also have a hard bids for the site work, which is everything on the left here in blue. So that would be all the pavements, drainage, there's a bit of landscaping, making sure the front entrance is accessible. And so we have stairs and ramps and the seating and the parking. That is what is within the site. We have hard bids for that. Then we actually executed a contract with a contractor for the shell work. So we're actually underway and under contract for the shell. So again, the exterior enclosure of the building. They're contractually obligated to complete this project no later than the end of the year. And what's actually been happening, we're in the process of finalizing the color selections of the doors, of the siding, and some of the windows. So that's been very fun. Those materials should be ordered soon. And then once those arrive, we'll start. And so you'll see some activity, I would say, within the next couple months or so. And then that last bullet point is regarding the site work. We're under discussion with the village regarding site available funding or supplemental funding. There's an ARPA fund that they're looking at where we're hoping they can supplement some of the cost of the area in blue on the left. The big goal for the project is to get, this is how I call it, get it weather and rodent tight and give it some curb appeal by the end of the year. So if we accomplish everything on the left-hand side of that black line, the shell and the site, we'll be able to achieve that goal. So again, we're underway on the shell and we're waiting for some conversations with the village on the site. But the hope still and the goal is that all those things would happen by year's end. And then the second bullet point, and I think people have caught wind of this through conversations, but we've had a heck of a time getting an available and affordable electrician since we bid the project in the middle of May. And so we have a couple of good options now that we're vetting, but we're waiting on the final electrician bid to nail down the prices for the other four components, the core, which is purple, provision lab, Historia, and apartments. And once we have those numbers from the electrician, we're basically going to bite off the pieces of this puzzle as we can chew them or as we can afford them. So that is where we're at. All those things are working in tandem. And that is sort of the big update. A couple of other options or updates for people. And sorry, this slide's a little boring. It's all text. But if you hadn't heard, Provision Lab did receive a $50,000 Northern Illinois Food Bank grant, which is awesome. They actually already have those funds, but $25,450 of that is for the build out, which is great. So that's going to cover the Oak Street garage doors that are on the facade, part of this early shell work, and it can cover other miscellaneous costs associated with the build out of Provision Lab. So that's awesome. The balance of that money, by the way, so the delta between $50,000 and $25,450, that's going to cover the stuff inside for the food pantry. So like their furnishings, they have some signage they have to purchase, new coolers that allow visibility into the merchandise. The next thing, and I kind of mentioned this, from finalizing material selections for the window siding, doors, storefront, paint colors, all that has to get finalized and selected. That's underway. And then from a dollars perspective, for those of you that hadn't heard, since Joe did give an update, we were allocated over $500,000, $519,200 in TIF funds from the village the end of last year, which is awesome. So of that value to date, 123,975. There's a little rounding in there. That has been spent. 176,500 is allocated either to the shell work or to the balance of the design team fees, and that leaves that balance at 218,635 remaining to spend on the work that has yet to be under contract. The other things that we will eventually pay for would be the building permit fees. There's some utility fees to the village to make a new water connection, those type of things. We have to purchase some of our own furnishings, even for the exterior, like a rain barrel. The exterior signage is something we will purchase. Eventually, the audio video equipment, the kitchen equipment, the furniture for Historia, any supplemental furniture for the office, and light fixtures. Some of that'll, and that's going to kind of time itself up with those phases as needed. I think that's really the bulk of the update that I had. Let me stop sharing and figure out how to do that. So that's really the bulk of the update that I had. I think it's exciting times. I'm excited that we're under contract finally. It's exciting to see materials come in. It's fun to be picking out the exact garage door that's going to go on Oak Street, the exact main entrance on Main, and the exact siding that you'll see on that one-story renovation. So expect that building to come alive by year's end, and just keep praying. I think as far as how can you help, I think financial contributions are always accepted. We will have to bite off this as we can chew it, as I've said. But I think the other big thing would be just to pray for continued favor with the village. They've been an awesome partner. They're excited about this project. They're asking for updates on it frequently. And just keep praying like that God would continue to guide us as we make these decisions, and that the site costs and the electrician bids would come in favorably. So that's my big Main Street update, though, Joe.
I love it. I think you're coming off of the generosity and giving talk that we had this week. The big difference, and when you see a lot of these numbers, these are big numbers, right? And all these numbers are allocated from the village or from the Northern Illinois Food Bank for specific use only on this project. And so, when we talk about those numbers, it's not like those numbers can be used however. We have to track them. You do a great job of that, and we have to report those back. And so it's important for everybody to know what a blessing, right? And how those funds are needing. We're obviously stewarding them well and making sure that we're doing everything above reproach. So so far so good, and the village has been happy with the way that we've been working with that. So that's great. And I just again want to say I appreciate you. I honestly say come back to vision and seeing what I think we've been communicating to the village, what we've been communicating to you as second placers is really to just really understand this as a vision to see the community reached for the gospel and to have a place. And by the way, honestly, everybody that when we're working out there, we had a volunteer team come in from Barnabas Foundation and help take down some of the shiplap so that we can save that and maybe use that on the accent wall. And as we've been working in the building, as we've been kind of gearing up for the project to get started for real, anybody that stops and says hi or asks about the building, every single person is like so excited about the coffee shop opening up. They're impressed and they're excited for the food pantry as well. But honestly, it's kind of, I don't know if it's just Monee being a coffee desert or what, but they are so excited. Deborah works in the post office 2 doors down from the building, and she is like asking all the time how soon before it's going to open. So there's a lot of energy around it. There's a lot of excitement around the project overall, beautifying that corner in Monee and really hopefully kicking off a beautification of that whole block. We're excited about it, and it really truly is you guys having the vision along with us to reach the community on the other side of 57, right? And see that happen. So a big thanks to Danielle, the whole team. Appreciate you guys so much. And that, my friends, is the official September 2022 update on the Main Street project. All right, we'll be talking to you tomorrow with one last video. See you then.